Into that momentarily. Thanks for joining us for the news at 11. I'm Chris Fry. Meteorologist Erika Paige starts things off, and as mentioned, the rain it's never ending, and it's going to continue into the overnight.
Yeah, unfortunately, we've still, I would say, got about maybe 3 to 4 more hours still to deal with some of these showers, but there is some good news on the horizon for us. Once we get past this initial wave of rain, we'll get a little bit of a break, may have a couple lighter showers around the area tomorrow, but the rain chance will quickly be decreasing, and that is good news for us. So unfortunately, if your evening plans tonight were rained out a little bit, we do have some better news on the way looking ahead towards the weekend. We do have a couple flood alerts in effect still at this point. The one that was in for northern Trumbull County has been allowed to lift. That was a flash flood warning that was in effect. The only one we have in effect currently is a flood warning for parts of Cuyahoga County, mainly into that southeastern corner, where in spots we've been able to easily pick up, according to radar estimates, upwards of 2.5, maybe even 3 inches of rain in some isolated spots, and across parts of southern Geauga, northern Trumbull County at times. We were measuring, at least according to radar, upwards of 4 inches of rain. So the farther south you went, the more spotty some of that heavier rain totals were coming in at, but you're still talking ½ inch to about 1.5 inches in some locations. So this has been a healthy drink of water for a lot of our lawns. If you're trying to get some yard work done, would wait until Sunday, not only because it's going to be a little bit warmer, but we should have a little bit of wind around the area tomorrow, and that should help evaporate some of that moisture a little faster. The last of the heaviest of the rain continuing to push its way off towards the east. You're starting to see it break up a bit more to the west, which is a good sign for us as we wait for that next cold front to roll in. We'll talk about the effect of that cold front this weekend coming up in just a few minutes. We've been dealing with some of the rain out there this evening. That will slowly start coming to a close here over the next couple of hours. But if you're in a spot that was already dealing with some of the flooding issues earlier this evening, know that we're still not going to see large improvements likely until we get towards, I would say, maybe 3, 4 o'clock tomorrow morning, just because it's going to take some time for that water to recede if you aren't already starting to see those improvements. The reason I give such a long window, it's just because we have a couple more rounds of rain that are still possible to roll through. Flood warning still in effect for parts of Cuyahoga County tonight. This is where we have seen those bigger issues with some of the heavy rain. You're still dealing with a very steady bout of this rain, but you're starting to get a little bit of a break just off to the west. I'm not saying that you're completely rain-free across this kind of general area of northeast Ohio, but at least the rounds of this heavier rain that you see in the orange and the yellow, that will become a lot more spotty as we slowly start to work in some of this drier air out ahead of that cold front. So that's the next big feature we're going to watch. You'll notice as this rain clears out of here, temperatures still stay pretty steady over the next couple of hours. This is 3 a.m. Most of us still checking in upper 50s to about low 60s. But by the time we get closer to sunrise tomorrow, here comes that cold front, and it's a sharp drop in your temperature on the backside of it. And with that wind out of the northwest, you're going to pick up some of that moisture off of the lake, and I can't rule out a couple of those showers still lingering through the first half of the day tomorrow. Once we get towards noon, temperatures for pretty much everybody are sitting upper 40s to about low 50s. And unless you can get some sunshine in here, which largely looks confined to our far western counties and southern zones, you're probably not going to see a huge boost in that temperature even as we go through tomorrow afternoon. It's going to be windy on top of it. It's going to make that temperature just kind of feel a little bit more raw for you as you go through the day tomorrow. Now, tomorrow evening, very different story. Those clouds that are around during the day quickly start to break apart, and as that happens, the winds start to decrease as well, and temperatures will be falling into the 30s inland, 40s a little closer to the lakeshore. So if you've gotten a little bit of a jump start maybe on setting out some of those spring plants, no problem, but just be mindful that you may have some frost concerns popping back up over the course of the next couple of nights. Now, those clear skies do us a world of good by Sunday. We're back into the lower 60s during the afternoon. There will be a little bit of a lake breeze, so keep that in mind if you're going to be down closer to the lakeshore during the weekend. But at least we're starting to trend on a little bit of a warmer trend for us. Next week, though, still pretty active, and we're watching Tuesday specifically. There is a chance that we could see some strong to severe storms. There's a lot going for it. There's a couple things we're monitoring, like rain possible during the early part of the day that may mess with some of those dynamics. We'll have to watch those trends as we continue on through the rest of the weekend, but that may end up becoming a 19-1st alert weather day. On the other side of it, temperatures will cool off, but at least we start to moderate back into the 60s and 70s by the time we get into next weekend. So there are going to be some ups and downs, but thankfully these downswings in your temperature are a bit more palatable, especially when you only have to deal with it for about one day. Like I said, on the other side of Tuesday's cold front, Wednesday looks to be a pretty nice day outside of some of those cooler temperatures. Then we see the heat and the moisture starting to roll back in on Thursday. That will likely bring back another opportunity for us to see some showers and thunderstorms, and likely a lingering rain chance into your Friday. But I know we've got a lot of folks looking ahead towards next Saturday with Cedar Point opening up. Right now, we're going to keep the forecast looking pretty good. Little cool, but it looks like our temperature will rebound through the rest of the weekend and feeling more so like early May.